I remember in 8th grade, my mom, we'd go to Costco and we'd buy the 5 gum packet and they would come in a packet of like 12 and I would sell them on the boss for $3 a piece.
Nah.
And the whole pack at Costco cost like $10.
Right.
And then 3 times 12, what? That's 36. So I would be making like 26 pocking in every week and I'd be selling it to people on the bus and stuff. Like I'd do that every week. And that's how I'd make money because I was broke.
If you're trying to make a business, if you're trying to build a business and make it become successful, you have to reinvest that income so that it can grow and grow and grow. You know, the little money that you make, people pocket, and then they're just like, oh, you know what? I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because it's successful. And then next thing you know, after a few weeks, after a few months, or even a year, it goes down the drain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel too. Because it's not even like this journey wasn't easy.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy at all, man. Like, I think, funny enough, when you talked about in your pilot, you were like, you started off as an entrepreneur. You used to sell shoes and you cut hair. It's funny. I was the same way. And actually, you cutting my hair when I was little inspired me to cut hair. And then I started cutting my friends' hair, like when I was young, dude. Like, and I would cut people's hair for I'd be like, yo, give me $5. But it's funny. Like, I would have like caveats to it. I'd be like, you give me $5 for the haircut, and then tip me based on how good I do. That was my thing.
Okay.
So I was like, you could, because I told him I'm not a real barber.
Right.
I was like, and if I kill it, give me what you owe me. But if I don't kill it, shit, it's $5. You know what I mean? It's good enough to get my tank filled to go to high school or whatever at the time, right?
Right.
That's kind of how I started off. And I've always had like a very entrepreneurial mentality. This is funny. I think it kind of runs in the family too, because even our grandpa, he had his own store at one point in Peru. You know,
sir.
like for me, that the entrepreneurship has kind of always been in my life. I've always thought about like selling stuff. Even I remember in 8th grade, I used to be on the school bus and my mom, we'd go to Costco and we'd buy the 5 gum packets and they would come in a packet of like 12, right? And I would sell them on the boss for $3 a piece.
Nah.
And the whole pack at Costco cost like $10, right? And then 3 times 12, what? That's 36. So I would be making like 26 pocking in every week. I'd be selling it to people on the bus and stuff. Like I'd do that every week. And that's how I'd make money because I was broke growing up, bro. I was broke. But the beginning of the podcast specifically, when I was with my old partner and we started up stuff, like that's kind of where it started. And we only honestly wanted to just start doing it for fun.
Right.
And I think the beginning of every entrepreneur's like life, it comes with trying stuff out, making mistakes, and figuring it out.
Exactly.
And sometimes you're not even ready. Like I think everything is step by step. You don't necessarily have to go all big, if it fails, like you get super mad.
Exactly. And guys, touching base on that even more is when I speak to someone who is thinking about starting their own business, I always hear, I don't know if you've ever heard this as well. I always hear, oh no, but I want it to be perfect.
Oh yeah.
It's never going to be perfect when you start the new journey. My pilot wasn't perfect. I'm sure your first episode wasn't perfect. Unfortunately, I hate to be this blunt, but it's an excuse. It's an excuse to delay things, and it's an excuse to elongate the process of just starting. All you have to do is just begin, take a risk. If there's 2 options, just pick one, and then if it fails, okay, great. Choose the other route. You know what I'm saying?
It could be fear driven too. You know what I mean? An excuse just for like your fear and feeding it and being like, because I was definitely scared, putting this stuff on and
being judged.
Yeah, and being judged. And like I think like there's a whole bunch of things. Like one of the biggest things that upset me the most, which I feel a lot of other people might feel when they're trying to start something up, is like the way I look on camera. You know what I mean? I understand I'm a little bit overweight. I understand that like I worked so hard before like we actually started filming the podcast video wise. Bro, I used to be pushing like 270, right? And then I was like, bro, I can't be looking on this on camera because I literally look just like a ball, right? And then I was like, nah, I got to do something better. And I dropped 30 pounds. I started doing like at-home workouts during the pandemic when we all started. Because again, when we first started, I already saw the bigger idea. I saw the vision and I was just like, how am I going to get there? And it started out like so slow first, dude. Like I literally started the podcast with anything I had. I was already a sound engineer, so I had some mics. I put up the mics and, I already had a laptop. I had my partner at the time, we would take notes. And we had this whole version of the podcast that's not even how it is now. I mean, it's completely different. Episode 1 to the latest episode, completely different logo, completely different style. And starting off, like, I just knew there was these little steps that I would have to take. And there was mistakes that I've made. And some of those mistakes include like learning how to actually make quality sounding audio. Also the time investment it takes to get into your skills. Editing used to take me like 5 hours, dude. like 5 hours for one episode, and that's a lot to ask for. Like not, and that's not including the actual show.
And each
the
episode
setup.
is like definitely more than like an hour 15, an hour 30.
You know, it's an hour 30 each episode. You're editing. Then all of a sudden you have to put on the social media. You have to promote it. You have to write up all the descriptions. And not only that, like after editing, you have to make the video like be able to actually be uploaded to everything else.
Okay.
So like that takes a while too. That takes up to like on my old computer, it took up to like 2.5 hours to do that in 4K.
Right.
So then you add all that up and it's not paying you any money. I've always been hustling hella hard for all this. And especially when I started out, I was making no money. Up until this point, I haven't really I've made back what I've invested to this point before I've officially made it an official business.
And how long has it been?
I just opened up the business on December 6th. Probably before December 6th, I had invested about...
You don't have to share the amount, but like how long did it take for you to get back whatever you invested?
Like like a year and a half, 2 years,
Right,
you know? And that was even just from like doing other side stuff that didn't involve the podcast itself. I would do recordings for other people using my podcast equipment. I would take photos for people and be like, hey, you could tip me for this, you know, just using the camera itself.
Right.
Sometimes it's like you have a dream, you have an idea, go for if you actually believe in something, which like I said, for my business, I believe in it 100%. I believe in myself. I believe in what I'm going to do. I have a vision for the future, you know? And so far I see like it's just a process. I started this journey 2 years ago and I saw it and I was like, I want to be uploading high quality podcast videos. I want to be taking pictures. I want to be going around and doing what I like, what I love, and sharing other people's memories and journeys and paths, and have to do with music and sound engineering. And so far I've been doing all of that. And most recently, like the past 3 months, it's like incredible, like day and night, bro. Like if I could talk to myself from 2 years ago, I would just be like, keep hustling, like do exactly what you're doing, how you're doing it right now. As long as you keep the momentum, as long as you keep the passion, as long as you be smart with all your decisions, where can you go wrong? You're either going to explode overnight or you're just going to explode over time. You know, that's really what it is at the end of the day.